Imagine this: one day, your city wakes up to a surprise party except the guest of honor is a temperature plummeting by 80 degrees Celsius. Yeah, you read that right. The entire world's population, frozen solid. Weeks pass, and those who survived are now living in a giant, icy ghost town. Water and electricity gone. Food, non-existent. Warmth, forget it. Everyone's starving, shivering, and basically turning into human popsicles. But not Jang Yi. No, this guy prepared for the worst probably because he's been binge-watching survival shows and hoarding canned beans since 2025. He's living comfortably while everyone else is stuck in their freezing homes with nothing but frozen pizza and despair. Flashback to 2050. A star explodes like a cosmic fireworks show gone wrong, and Earth is plunged into an endless ice age. Jang Yi works at a Walmart warehouse because what better place to stockpile an arsenal of survival gear? And he's got enough canned goods to survive the apocalypse. Or at least until the next ice age. Then, disaster strikes. His crush, Feng Yuqing, and her sneaky neighbor break into his house, steal all his food, and leave him on his deathbed. She even admits she pulled a fast one on him. Classic love story, right? Before passing out, Jang Yi swears he'll find her in hell and get revenge. Because what's a little betrayal between frozen lovers? Fast forward 3 months in the past because apparently Jang Yi can time travel now and he's not falling for her sob story anymore. Nope. Now he's all about revenge, survival, and making sure he comes out on top. The cult, the betrayal, all just obstacles on his path to dominance. 3 months left before the big freeze. Jang Yi's got a plan, a master plan. He stares at the icy horizon and then, like a light bulb of genius, he realizes he can send stuff to a different dimension. Think of it as a cosmic game inventory. Jackpot, an infinite supermarket of food stored safely in a pocket universe. No more worries about starving or droughts. He's basically got an interdimensional pantry. While others are panicking, Jang Yi heads to a luxury restaurant and blows 50,000 Korean won on a feast, charging it all to his credit card. Because in 3 months, all his problems and his debts will be over. Plus, he's got his eyes on Feng Yuqing. She betrayed him in a past life, and now, well, he's got plans to make her regret it. His rival love interest's friend, watching from the sidelines, whispers, "That guy's loaded now. He's doing everything for her." Fuming, Jang Yi flashes his bank card and invites them to his supermarket. Because what's better than shopping in a post-apocalyptic world? Nothing. That's what. Never know when an apocalypse might hit, he says, piling up canned tuna and instant noodles. The opportunists complain he's carrying too much but secretly hope to profit from his stash. At the market exit, his Aunt Lin and her adorable 5-year-old grandson spot his mountain of groceries. "Can't eat all that alone," she says, smiling. Without missing a beat, the kid snatches his cart. "Sorry, I'll eat it all myself," Jang Yi declares, grabbing his cart back and threatening, "I'll punch your teeth out if you keep this up." The kid starts crying, Aunt Lin's eyebrows shoot up, and she promises to buy him chocolate later after he shows his QR code. Jang Yi leaves, muttering about how he's going to enjoy the day when he finally gets to treat them to a feast. Back home, he stores all his food in his magical storage. No spoilage, no worries. But he's not stopping there. He's building an impenetrable fortress. Think bank vault meets Fort Knox with heating devices, medical supplies, and maybe a few secret weapons just in case. 3 months remaining. He plans to sell everything he owns, borrow money against his apartment which he's mortgaging to the hilt, and buy even more supplies. The bank manager warns about high interest, but Jang Yi's just rubbing his hands together. Interest rates. I don't care. I've got 9 million won now. By the end of 3 months, I'll have 30 million or lose my house and car. Next stop, the best security company in town. Build me a fortress, he says. Reinforce it with aviation materials, bulletproof glass everywhere, an air filtration system, and a 360-degree camera setup. The front door, make it as secure as a bank vault. Because in the end, he's not just surviving, he's surviving in style. Jang Yi, ever the mastermind, didn't just want a house, he wanted the ultimate fortress. So, he turned to his business manager and asked, "Hey, can you find a way to get some weapons? Like real weapons? You know, for self-defense." The manager blinked in shock. "Weapons? Sir, this isn't a movie set. We can get all the renovation materials in the world, but weapons, that's a no-go. But Jang Yi was already imagining his house turning into a modern-day castle, walls thick enough to withstand a zombie apocalypse and enough crossbows to turn any intruder into Swiss cheese. Fine, he said with a grin, just get me some crossbows, that'll do. Within days, his fortress was taking shape. The final plan cost a staggering 8 million won, basically a small fortune. After paying the deposit, he promptly told the contractors, start immediately. I want this thing so secure, even Batman would be jealous. Next on his list, self-defense weapons. Jang Yi, always thinking ahead, managed to sweet-talk the owner of a local hunting club into selling him some crossbows. Double the market price, he said, because I need them yesterday. The owner, a bit confused but mostly just happy to make a quick buck, handed over the crossbows with a shrug. Meanwhile, the delivery trucks arrived, not just any trucks, but several enormous ones from a five-star hotel. The neighbors looked on in disbelief as they watched an endless convoy unload mountains of food. That's gotta be at least 1 million wons worth, someone whispered, eyes wide as dinner plates. Jang Yi, with a devilish grin, quickly stored everything into his secret storage. Food for years, no worries, he was basically prepping for the end of the world, and then some. The very next day, the security company showed up with their shiny new surveillance gear. As they set up cameras on every floor, neighbors gathered outside, whispering, "Is this guy building a bunker or opening a grocery store?" One teased. Another chuckled, probably lost his mind, he's taking prepper to a whole new level. But Jang Yi didn't care. When the end times arrive, they'd see who was the real joke. Not stopping there, he marched into his workplace's management office and bought up a huge batch of medicines offering double the market price just for priority. I need everything, he said firmly, no exceptions. Little by little, he transported his precious cargo home, creating a mountain of supplies. His recent stockpiling didn't go unnoticed. Feng Yuqing, who'd been watching from afar, asked her assistant if something big was brewing. She's worried, he said. Maybe something's about to go down. Feng Yuqing, ever the schemer, mentioned she'd been thinking about him a lot lately, probably plotting her next move. Jang Yi, however, wasn't biting. Instead, he ignored her, leaving her fuming. His best friend, seeing all this chaos, just laughed. If something big happens, the whole country will know soon enough. Just sit tight and win over the right people, then you'll benefit. Weeks flew by. His fortress was almost complete. The company installed surveillance on every floor, and Jang Yi was feeling pretty proud of himself. All that was left was one last big delivery, a mountain of bottled water. As trucks kept pulling up, his Uncle Yu, the neighbor and one of the few good guys, peeked over his fence, curious. "Why so much water, kid?" Uncle Yu asked, scratching his head. Jang Yi, with a serious face, leaned in. "Uncle, this year's weather will be crazy, really cold. Better stock up." Uncle Yu hesitated, then saw the look in his nephew's eyes. Okay, he nodded, reluctantly. Over the following weeks, Jang Yi spent every dime on supplies, stacking up more than he ever thought possible and training with his bow and arrow every single day. The countdown to the coldest winter in history was ticking down. Then, the big day arrived. Jang Yi, working as a stock supervisor, made tea and invited his colleagues for a drink. 1 hour later, everyone started to feel sleepy thanks to a little sneaky sleeping tea. With cameras off, it was time for the ultimate heist. He quietly emptied the warehouse. His eyes landed on a box labeled cold resistance equipment, perfect for his fortress. These machines could withstand temperatures of up to -100 degrees Celsius. Jackpot. He also took a special sleeping tea just in case he needed to make a quick getaway and joined his colleagues, pretending to be innocent. 2 hours later, he was awakened by an employee with bad news. "Boss, we're screwed. Warehouse got robbed, everything's gone." "Really?" Jang Yi feigned surprise. "Huh? How could that happen?" "Did all the security cameras just disappear?" The manager, bewildered, immediately accused the supervisor and some unknown accomplices. Everyone was brought in for questioning, but no clues or cameras showed anything suspicious. The warehouse was wiped clean like a teleportation spell had been cast. The police warned everyone to stay put, no one was leaving the city. Jang Yi, playing innocent, promised he'd stay at home. But deep down, he knew this was just the beginning. On December 10th, the city was rocked by news. Tons of supplies vanished without a trace in less than 3 hours. And that very night, bam, a heavy snowstorm kicked in, signaling the start of what Jang Yi knew as the cold apocalypse. 3 days later, a supernova shockwave struck, plunging the planet into chaos. Temperatures dropped overnight. Outside, the snow piled up like a giant marshmallow factory exploded. Looking out his window, Jang Yi muttered, "This time, the story will be different." Meanwhile, the apartment owners group was panicking. They'd never seen so much snow in the city. Many neighbors had never even seen snow before. Inside, the cold seeped in even with heaters turned up to maximum. People trembled, clutching their blankets, praying for warmth. But Jang Yi, well, he was ready. His fortress, his stockpile, his plans, nothing was going to catch him off guard this time. Because when the cold truly comes, only the prepared survive, and Jang Yi, he's just getting started. The next morning, Jang Yi woke up feeling surprisingly cozy inside his fortress of supplies. Several pieces of his heating equipment kept the house comfortably warm even after a good sleep. He was lounging like a king in his castle. Just then, his phone buzzed loudly, an alert from Uncle Yu. It was Uncle Yu calling to ask if Jang Yi knew about the temperature drop. "Did you tell anyone you've been stocking up all these supplies? And why didn't you tell me? You know I like you so much, and now I'm freezing my butt off eating instant noodles," the old man grumbled. Jang Yi couldn't help but laugh. "Sorry, Uncle, I was busy preparing for the apocalypse," he said cheekily, then promptly hung up. On the other side, Uncle Yu fumed and sent a text. "Can I get some of that fancy steak and wine you're eating?" Jang Yi, always up for a bit of mischief, decided to tease him. He replied with a photo of perfect, juicy Wagyu steak paired with an expensive French wine. "If you want, Uncle, just go to the market and buy it yourself," he typed, smirking at the reply. But he knew Uncle Yu was desperate. So Jang Yi threw in a challenge. "Come over and eat with me. I'll share." Meanwhile, on the building's surveillance feed, Aunt Lin was trying to keep order. She appeared on the iPad screen, telling everyone not to panic or fight over supplies. "The extreme weather will only last 2 or 3 days, she said, trying her best to sound reassuring. "The neighborhood committee will help everyone through this. Hoarding excessively is forbidden," Sylvie reported. But one resident, skeptical, raised his hand. "How do you know this will only last a few days? What if it keeps snowing forever?" Aunt Lin, flustered but trying to stay professional, pointed to Jang Yi. "The neighborhood committee will take responsibility," she said, then quickly added, "and don't cause trouble. Especially you, Jang Yi." Jang Yi, lounging comfortably in his fortress, ignored her. "Let her try," he muttered, more amused than concerned. A week of relentless snow continued outside, piling higher and higher. Aunt Lin, growing frustrated, asked him to clear the snow from the building's entrance. "Useless," Jang Yi said flatly. "Trying to clear this is like trying to dry a river with a bucket." He suggested she call the wealthy residents for help. They can pay to clear it if they don't want to do it for free. Fuming, Aunt Lin snapped, "This is an order from the neighborhood committee. Anyone opposing it will be blamed." Jang Yi, unconcerned, replied, "Why didn't you call the rich guys first? Or ask Kunjang, he's got employees for this. Or Xing Song, he's loaded." Seeing her power crumble, Aunt Lin cursed under her breath and called the group chat, tagging everyone to clear the snow together. Kunjang, furious, shot back an angry message, accusing everyone of acting like they owned the place. "You think this is a game?" he raged. Xing Song, ever the busy rich guy, just sent a quick audio clip. "Sorry, I'm swamped, look how busy I am." Aunt Lin's temper boiled over. "That's it," she snapped, sending a message to Jang Yi personally. "You caused all this chaos. You're just causing trouble." Jang Yi, calm as ever, responded with a threat. "Keep bothering me, and I'll kill you." Frightened, she hung up, trembling. Just then, a loud pounding echoed at his front door. "Open up, punk," a rough voice shouted. It was Chen Jiang, outside, kicking and shouting. Jang Yi, quick on his feet, grabbed his bow and quietly crept to the door. Peering through the peephole, he saw Chen Jiang swaggering, about to kick the door in. Without hesitation, Jang Yi drew his arrow and shot it through the peephole straight into Chen Jiang's shin. The man howled in pain, clutching his leg on the ground. No one could have guessed that a seemingly naive kid and honest, quiet boy would have the guts to react like this. Chen Jiang, furious and in pain, didn't realize this was just the beginning of Jang Yi's revenge. With the cold weather pressing in, Chen Jiang knew that if he didn't get proper treatment soon, he'd die from infection or hypothermia. Struggling to reach his phone, he called emergency services, but snow and ice made rescue impossible. Wincing, he pulled the arrow out himself, blood dripping, and then lunged for his phone again. With trembling hands, he sent a threatening message to the neighborhood chat. "Jang Yi, watch your back. I'll kill you." Jang Yi, lounging inside, just smirked and typed back, "Come again, and I'll do it first." The chat exploded with shock. No one in the neighborhood dared to challenge Chen Jiang. He was known for his toughness. But this was different. Furious, Chen Jiang grabbed his phone and summoned all his employees. Within minutes, a mob of armed men gathered at Jang Yi's house, each holding something sharp or heavy. They stormed to his door, ready for battle. "Jang Yi, you offended our big bro today. Today's your last day," the lead thug bellowed, swinging his sword. The door made of sturdy metal, not wood, held firm. But when they swung their weapons, they shattered their own tools. "Wow," Jang Yi muttered, watching the scene through his security cameras. "They look hungry. Probably haven't eaten in days." The gang of enemies looked on, frustrated and confused. Their weapons broke like twigs against the reinforced door, and they realized this kid's house is more fortified than a bank vault. Meanwhile, Jang Yi was just sitting back, patiently waiting. His fortress wasn't just for show, it was his last line of defense against chaos, enemies, and the cold. And he knew, deep down, that this was only the beginning of a winter that nobody would forget. As the snowstorm raged on, the crowd outside grew angrier and more desperate. Jang Yi, ever the clever tactician, grabbed a water hose from the kitchen and turned it on full blast through a crack in his door. The workers outside, seeing no arrows flying or threats, didn't realize what was happening. Suddenly, icy water gushed out like a frozen dragon's breath, drenching the crowd. They yelped and slipped on the icy ground, falling in a tangled heap. Only a few managed to scramble away, soaked and shivering. From inside, Jang Yi watched with a satisfied smirk. "Cold water," he muttered, "more dangerous than any weapon." Meanwhile, the three who escaped, trembling in the snow, huddled together. One, trembling more than the others, growled, "How could we not catch that kid? He's got a steel door, and he's clever as hell." Chen Jiang, nursing his bruised leg, glared furiously. "He's hiding somewhere in that apartment. We need to set guards, day and night. And when he steps out, we grab him, no excuses." Back at the neighborhood entrance, Uncle Yu's team was trying to dig a path through the snow, planning to reach the supermarket. But snow kept falling relentlessly, piling up faster than they could clear. After hours of futile effort, they gave up, exhausted and defeated. Jang Yi, observing from his fortress, shook his head. "Humans can't beat a storm of this size," he murmured, "no matter how much effort they put in." In his mind, he knew the truth, a dark secret: the entire world was suffering from this unprecedented cold disaster. He received a message from Fang Yuqin, who was worried about him. "Are you okay?" the message asked. Jang Yi replied casually, "I'm fine." She quickly responded, "I'm out of food. Remember, you bought a lot. Send me some, and I'll invite you for dinner." He responded with a photo of a lobster, captioned, "Dinner's served." This irritated her. She thought, that's why he's single. Too busy showing off. Her best friend chimed in with a message. "You made Fang Yuqin sad now." Jang Yi, unimpressed, texted back a dismissive "Oh." This annoyed her friend even more, but she gave up, saying, "The snow won't last long. Why don't you help your neighbors? Maybe you'll even impress Fang Yuqin." Jang Yi ignored her and simply replied with a single "Oh," fueling her frustration. Meanwhile, Yuqing, always scheming, couldn't understand his sudden loss of control. His pride wounded, he called another loser, Zhou Ping, who rushed over, carrying a big bag of supplies. "I've got all I have," Zhou said, panting. Yuqing, eyeing the meager amount, scoffed. Before he could fool anyone else, her friend slammed the door in his face. She didn't care about the supplies, she was just plotting her revenge on Jang Yi for ignoring her. 5 days passed, the snow kept falling, thicker and colder. Inside, Jang Yi was munching on a piece of chicken, waiting for the next act of chaos to unfold. The power went out, plunging the entire building into darkness. Neighbors emerged from their homes, shivering and asking each other if anyone still had electricity. With water and electricity cut, heaters were useless. People curled under blankets, the cold pressing down like a death sentence. Jang Yi, ever prepared, flicked on his generator, an old but reliable device he had bought or stolen earlier. In the neighborhood office, Aunt Lin clutched her grandson tightly, trembling. She never imagined the snowstorm would last so long. Suddenly, a message appeared in the group chat, claiming this was a global snowstorm, occurring once every 100,000 years, potentially a mass extinction event. Major cities were already affected. Everyone needed to stock up more. Shock hit Aunt Lin. She never thought the disaster would be so severe. Then, she devised a sinister plan. She posted a message, pretending to reassure everyone. Don't worry, this disaster is temporary. Repairs are underway. The authorities have ordered the neighborhood committee to manage all property. Those who don't cooperate will be arrested. The message sparked outrage, especially among Kunjang, but even he knew, if the police issued an order, he had no choice but to obey. Talon, meanwhile, in the group chat, announced, because of the snowstorm, all supplies will be collected and redistributed to help everyone. Jang Yi, remembering a past life, recalled that Talon had once stolen food from residents. He immediately snapped a voice message. You're lying. I've eaten everything at home. I have no supplies. Share some with me. Hearing this, the elderly lady in the group nearly fainted with anger. How could he ruin everything so easily? But then she remembered her own dire situation. Her family depended on Jang Yi. Reluctantly, she responded kindly. This is an order from the organization. Obey. And after the snow passes, I'll report your good deeds. Jang Yi, smirking, replied casually with a toothpick. Auntie, I'm telling the truth. I've got nothing to eat. Send me some, will you? The tension in the group was thick. Everyone looked at each other, knowing that in this frozen chaos, Jang Yi held the key to survival or destruction. Instant noodles, simple, humble, yet now priceless in this frozen hellscape. When Tilin saw the request, she couldn't contain her anger. Her fingers trembled as she fired back at Jang Yi. Refusing to surrender your supplies is the same as going against the organization. I will report you all. Jang Yi dismissed her with a sneer. You're nothing, he muttered, flicking the cigarette ash off his fingers. Talon, watching from the sidelines, felt her stomach knot with dread. Jang Yi's dismissive attitude only fueled her nerves. Frustrated, she slammed her phone against the wall, her face contorted with fury. Damn him, she hissed. If I can't get anything out of him, I'll deceive others. 2 days later, her scheme bore fruit. Several owners, desperate and gullible, sent supplies to Aunt Lin's house, believing she'd be the rightful distributor. Jang Yi watched all this unfold through the security cameras, arms crossed, a cold smile on his face. Everyone's so stupid, he thought. In a world falling apart, their greed and trust make them easy targets. He knew the chaos outside was relentless. No food, no water. Many were starving, waiting for death, or desperate enough to hunt for food. The chat was flooded with desperate pleas. I have no food at home. I'll eat you if I have to. Talon, you thief, those supplies are mine to distribute. Her reply was mocking. You idiots. These supplies, I fought for every bit. Why would I give them away? Suddenly, her phone rang. Seeing Chen Jiang's name, she broke out in a cold sweat. What do you want, old lady? Chen Jiang's voice was cold and commanding. You're tricking everyone, he accused. Taking supplies to your house under the guise of the community's orders. Talon stammered, pretending innocence. It's the community committee's arrangement. I'm just doing my duty. Chen Jiang's voice turned sharper. Perfect. 10 of us are waiting for you to distribute the supplies. We're coming now. Panicked, Talon tried to argue. The supplies aren't sorted yet. Some owners haven't handed in everything, but her protests were futile. Chen Jiang and his starving companions stormed her house. No law, no order in this chaos. He raised his hand and slapped her across the face. Today, justice is served, he said coldly. Her grandson, trembling, grabbed a bread knife, stabbing wildly in defense. The boy's desperate attempt was met with brutality. Chen Jiang kicked him hard in the chest. The crowd outside, watching through the windows and security feeds, cheered and clapped. That's how you deal with scammers, they cheered. Chen Jiang sneered at the scene, proud of his act. Old thief, this is what happens when you lie, he declared. Jang Yi, observing everything calmly from his hideout, ate a sausage and recorded the chaos. They don't understand the apocalypse, he mused. Soon, people will have to eat money just to survive. Meanwhile, Talon was frantic. Her phone lit up again, this time, an urgent plea for medicine. My grandson was shot by Chen Jiang. We need hemostatic drugs, antibiotics, anything for surgery. Jang Yi's eyes widened at the mention of Dr. Z, the kind doctor from his past life, now turned into an emergency healer in this chaos. Talon begged, promising gratitude to anyone who could help. But the residents, hardened and distrustful, ignored her pleas. No one responded. Outside, the snowstorm persisted for over a week, burying everything in white. The ground was covered in a thick layer of snow, freezing the city into a silent, icy grave. In some northern cities, temperatures plummeted below -100 degrees Celsius. People trying to escape south froze along the way. Frozen corpses littered the roads. In the group chat, Talon again begged for help. My grandson is starving. He's just a child. Please, anyone help us survive. People started selling instant noodles for $2,000 each, hoarding what little they had. Jang Yi, watching it all, shook his head. People don't understand the apocalypse, he thought. Soon, they'll have to eat their money. Xingzong, a savvy survivor, began buying up all the food at inflated prices, knowing full well that money was useless in this frozen world. A single mother also made a plea in the group. Her daughter was on the brink of starvation. Jang Yi, recalling her from his past life, nodded. They survived before, they'll survive again, he muttered. 10 days into the cold, Jang Yi lounged at home, enjoying the rare comfort. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. He chuckled, opening a video call. They look thinner, he said mockingly. Are they eating well? On the screen, his family, a boy and girl, drooled at the sight of a roasted chicken. Why do you still have so much food? They asked, eyes wide with longing. He laughed. I've got a fireplace. It's warm here, and I might even go for a run outside, get some fresh air. Yuching, watching from afar, drooled over Jang Yi's confidence. Take me with you next time, he requested eagerly. Jang Yi, smirking, refused. No way. And don't bother asking for a bath, this is my place. The girl immediately grew angry. If you don't want to help, fine, but mocking us isn't cool. Jang Yi's grin widened. Is that how it is? You still don't get it. Jang Yi's voice cut sharply through the static. Think I'm a loser, want food. Go find your rich boy. Without waiting for a response, he abruptly hung up, leaving Yuching furious. Her hand trembled as she clutched the phone, then with a furious shout, she threw it to the ground, shattering the screen. He's not a loser anymore, she spat, eyes blazing. My best friend still praises him. That guy's better than all those rich boys we used to hang out with. It's her loss for not enjoying what he offers. The frustration boiled over into a fistfight. Yuching and her friend, unable to accept being called dumb, threw punches at each other, their anger erupting in chaos amidst the bleak backdrop of the snow-covered ruins. Meanwhile, the government finally stopped hiding the grim truth. An emergency broadcast crackled over the battered TV screens. Electricity will only be available at night, and only at low voltage. Major power plants are offline. Use your phones and lamps sparingly. No electric showers. The ice disaster has no clear end in sight. The news hit everyone hard. Without power, survival was even more brutal. People scoured the darkened streets, rationing what little energy they had, knowing that the frozen world outside showed no mercy. Yuching and her friend, battered but still defiant, decided to be more direct. Yuching picked up her battered phone and called Zhou Peng, the so-called loser, spinning a story about how Jang Yi was trying to tarnish his reputation just because he had food. That Jang Yi is a scumbag, Zhou Peng growled, voice filled with fury. We need to take him down. Fueled by rage, Yuching misled Zhou Peng into believing that they should rob Jang Yi's house. Soon, the three armed with kitchen knives stood at his door, watching through the security cameras. Jang Yi, observing their foolishness, knew they had no idea about the cameras. They knocked loudly, pretending to negotiate for medicine in exchange for food. Annoyed, Jang Yi decided to teach them a lesson. Grabbing the hose, he aimed it at the intruders, ready to spray water until he saw the trash can overflowing nearby. An idea sparked. Instead of water, he turned the hose and sprayed a torrent of sewage onto the trespassers. The filth dripped down their clothes and faces as he sneered. This is what you deserve, garbage for trash. Furious, Zhou Peng hammered on the door, yelling curses, but the steel barrier held firm. "It's steel," Jang Yi's voice echoed through the speaker, cold and unfaltering. "You'll never open it." Eventually, Jang Yi gave up and went to sleep, the sounds of their rage fading into the silence of the night. But peace was brief. Suddenly, a gunshot shattered the quiet, startling him awake. His heart pounded. Checking the surveillance feed on his tablet, he saw Chen Zhang and his gang moving house to house, stealing supplies. Many residents met the same fate he had in his past life, victims of the lawless chaos. He quickly snapped photos and posted evidence in the building group chat, claiming control over the area. Soon, a new group formed, residents denouncing Chen Zhang's tyranny, calling for action. A retired veteran proposed leading an attack, supported by others eager to fight back. A woman in the chat, suspicious and distrustful, questioned whether they could trust the veteran. Her words filled with fear and suspicion. "Aunt Lin stole from us too," she argued. "Can we really give weapons to Uncle?" This division sparked heated debate. Some wanted to confront Chen Zhang, others wary of betrayal. As Chen Zhang's gang continued their rampage, a resident who opposed attacking called for help. Their door was being forced open. Within moments, she was dragged out, her screams silenced. Yacheng and her friends, trembling, realized they needed a plan to avoid the same fate. Their idea was to spread false rumors that Jang Yi hoarded supplies and rally others to storm his fortress. They added him to their new group chat to lure him in, but Jang Yi simply dismissed it. "You think I care?" he typed. "Join forces, no thanks." Frustrated, they discussed how to break into his house. The smart glass guy boasted about knowing lock-picking tricks. They prepared umbrellas to shield themselves from garbage and water and attempt to infiltrate his home. Watching through his cameras, Jang Yi activated his high-voltage defense system. When the lock-picker tried to open the door, he realized it was impossible. The lock was reinforced. The kid's face drained of color as he realized his plan was doomed. Seeing this, Jang Yi felt no remorse. He grabbed his crossbow, aiming through the door's peephole. With a cold, precise shot, he struck the arm of the smart kid, causing him to cry out in pain. The others, rushing to help, were also hit by arrows. The trespassers, now wounded and groaning, fled in terror. Yacheng, realizing the danger, was slapped across the face by one of her friends. "This is all your fault," she hissed. "You didn't mention he has a crossbow at home." "I didn't know," Yacheng argued, eyes wide with panic. "Last time he just sprayed water and threw garbage." Zhou Peng, still defiant, defended the chaos. "Besides, it's just a game now. Who cares?" The night descended into chaos, with Jang Yi's defenses standing firm amidst the storm of violence and betrayal. In this brutal world, survival came at a price. Trust was shattered, and the line between friend and foe blurred in the relentless cold. The smart guy with glasses, now visibly unhinged, pounded his fists on the ground, voice trembling with desperation. "We need to get that medicine no matter what. Jang Yi's the only one with supplies. If we don't take him out, we all die." His eyes darted around wildly, paranoia fueling his words. Yacheng, trembling, remembered how Jang Yi had suddenly changed his cold, calculating demeanor, the way he stockpiled everything. She hesitated, but then whispered to her friends, "He has medicine. I saw him stash it before. We just need to get to him." Her voice cracked as she added, "We didn't hurt him. We only wanted to rob his house. It's his fault we got hurt." From the corner, Jokir, listening intently, sneered silently. "He doesn't know this guy. He's dangerous, deserves to die." Suddenly, the blame shifted. A girl, trembling with guilt, grabbed Yucheng's arm, her eyes filled with tears. "It's all your fault. If you hadn't convinced us to attack him, none of this would have happened." She pushed her roughly, forcing her to the ground. The cousin of one of the boys stepped forward, slapping Yacheng hard across the face. "You schemer. You always think you're clever, but you're just a coward." Meanwhile, Zhou Peng, still stubborn and naive, looked at the chaos and then at the others. "We need him to help us. We can't do this without Jang Yi's supplies." A young boy, clutching his wounded arm, gritted his teeth in pain. "If we don't get medicine, I'll die." Yacheng, desperate, pushed herself up. "I'll go to him. I'll convince him to help." She pushed past everyone, trying to make her way toward Jang Yi's house, but the others grabbed her, shouting her down. "It's your fault," they yelled. "You should stay away." Dr. Jokir, watching the scene unfold, reminded them again, Without medicine, they're all doomed. We need a plan. One of the smarter kids suggested spreading rumors that Jang Yi had an abundance of supplies, hoping the others would raid his home. The plan was risky, but desperate times called for desperate measures. Yuching opposed it fiercely. We shouldn't do this to his brother. That's too cruel. The other girl sneered. If you open your mouth, you'll lose your teeth. Jang Yi, meanwhile, ignored their scheming. He looked outside at the snow swirling around his house, contemplating his next move. His mind drifted, stuck between staying safe and risking everything to help those who might betray him. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. A message from Dr. Joker. Medicine and food are out. If you want to negotiate, talk now. He remembered her kindness, how she had sacrificed everything in his previous life. But he also knew she could be dangerous if pushed too far. Jang Yi responded coolly. I can provide supplies, but you need to do something for me. Be my spy, tell me what the residents are planning. A pause, then her reply, deal, but remember, trust no one. He considered her words carefully. Accepting her deal meant risking exposure, but it also meant gaining an advantage. Meanwhile, the smart guy with glasses sent a final threat. Jang Yi, last chance. Will you deliver the supplies or not? Jang Yi, smirking, typed back in the group chat. My food just ran out. Sorry, guys. Soon after, Chen Zhang's gang formed a new group excluding Jang Yi, plotting to raid his supplies. Jang Yi, aware of their treachery, confided in Dr. Joker. I have a plan to defend myself. Just don't trust the herd. It was 2:30 a.m. when the mob arrived, banging loudly on his door, screaming about justice and revenge. Jang Yi activated his high-voltage device. The first wave of intruders was electrocuted instantly, convulsing on the ground. Their screams echoed through the night, then quickly faded into silence. But the rest hesitated, frightened by the lethal trap. Chen Zhang's voice boomed over the chaos. Keep breaking the door. Or die trying, the smart kid with glasses, trembling, whispered. Now we have to kill him, he's too dangerous. As they advanced, Jang Yi prepared himself, gripping his crossbow tightly. His eyes cold and unyielding, he knew this fight was far from over. Survival depended on outsmarting his enemies, no matter how ruthless they had become. Inside Jang Yi's fortress, the residents persisted with their brutal attempts to break in, wielding wooden logs and hammering at the steel door. The thick, steel-reinforced barrier refused to yield. After some time, Jang Yi, sitting calmly with a glass of wine, watched their futile efforts. Deciding to intervene, he took out his sound system, cranking up loud action movie music to boost their anger and determination. This is to motivate you, he shouted through the noise, a sinister grin on his face. 20 minutes later, the residents, exhausted and starving, were only able to scratch the surface of the door. Some were fainting from hunger and fatigue. The neighbors, puzzled, approached the door with the magnifying glass and were stunned to find that it was made of steel, the same material used in bank vaults, a door so sturdy that not even a tank could break through it. On the other side, Jang Yi held his crossbow, expertly aimed at the narrow gap, targeting the throats of anyone trying to force entry. One man was writhing in pain, gasping for breath, while others shouted that he had weapons. Strangely, Jang Yi seemed to be hitting enemies who weren't even facing his door, his technological defenses and self-defense instincts working perfectly. The smart guy with glasses, after calming himself, deduced that the entire structure was lined with steel walls, floors, even the ceiling. They tried to break through multiple points, hammering and drilling, but every corner was reinforced with metal. They even checked the apartments above and below, discovering that Jang Yi had built a completely impenetrable fortress. Realizing the extent of his preparation, despair set in among the neighbors. They murmured bitterly that Jang Yi had to have known about the impending apocalypse, building such a complex hideout to survive alone. Two residents, driven by hunger and desperation, momentarily fantasized about cannibalism, then quickly dismissed the thought. One neighbor remembered that his own apartment balcony was made of glass, and an idea sparked. Using wooden planks from nearby units, they attempted to reach Jang Yi's balcony, but it was protected by bulletproof glass. Their efforts were futile, the glass didn't even scratch. Frustrated, Jang Yi threw a Molotov cocktail into a crack he'd made earlier, igniting the interior and causing chaos. The flames spread quickly, engulfing the room and causing a surge of panic among the residents outside. They scrambled to escape, some falling from the balcony, others retreating into the neighboring apartments to avoid the fire. Jang Yi watched coldly as the flames roared, then calmly jumped from the balcony, landing safely amidst the chaos. The fire continued to spread, but he remained unscathed, observing while the others struggled for warmth and safety. Soon, the remaining residents, desperate and cold, returned to Jang Yi's balcony, pleading for food. They begged him, recalling their past kindnesses, hoping for mercy. Jang Yi, unmoved, presented them with a plate of warm pasta, deliberately placed on a table right in front of them. He coldly announced, "Whoever brings me Kun Jang's head will get food for a week." The crowd's eyes widened eagerly at the threat. This was their chance. Kun Jang, locked in his apartment, watched the scene through a camera. His face contorted with fear as he realized their plan. But just before he could act, Jang Yi posted a bounty in the owner's group: "Kill Kun Jang, and you'll have a week of food." The next morning, the skinnier residents, hungry and impatient, began to plan an ambush. Even armed with pistols, they knew surprise was their best chance. Chen Zheng and his loyal followers were caught off guard by an attack from behind, knocking them to the ground. In the chaos, Chen Zheng's men were subdued. One of them, wounded in the back, was treated by Dr. Joker, who refused to do so without a price. She sat at the corner, coldly stating she'd rather starve than become food. Chen Zheng, wounded but still commanding, insisted that she stay until he recovered. While he was injured, Joker quietly planned to escape, secretly informing Jang Yi of everything she heard. She pretended to go to the bathroom, but her real goal was to warn him about the invasion. Later, Kun Jang's men raided a neighboring apartment to seize supplies and steal. They murdered the owners with a brutal blow to the head, ensuring no witnesses remained. Chen Zheng warned Joker that he couldn't allow predators around his fortress, anyone who might try to hunt him down. Meanwhile, Joker observed the horrors unfolding inside Jang Yi's domain. Everyone there had removed arrows without proper medicine, leading to severe infections. The cold was gnawing at their pain, but they had no treatment. Chen Zhang's cousin pleaded with Jang Yi one more time, asking him to be convinced. She insisted it was hopeless. Jang Yi only consumed and watched as Kun Jang grew more paranoid and aggressive, eating more and more. Jang Yi, meanwhile, kept a close eye on the situation, calling Joker to check on her. She reported that Chen Zheng had gone completely insane, and his forces were invading houses, desperate for food and supplies. The story continues to escalate, with survival, treachery, and human desperation reaching new heights. Every day, Jang Yi's followers were sent out to hunt for food and eliminate anyone who posed a threat. The bodies were kept for later, stored meticulously. The food supply was dwindling rapidly. Juir hadn't eaten anything for days, and she desperately pleaded with Jang Yi, asking if he could save her. He paused, considering her usefulness as a competent doctor in this post-apocalyptic world. Such doctors were treasures now. "You can come to my house," he finally said, after making her do one last task. Later, Juir's desperation reached a boiling point. She hurried to Kun Jang's door, pounding on it, trembling as she begged for help. He opened, eyes bloodshot, and she tearfully explained that Yuching was starving and that she'd gone to Jang Yi's door, pleading for food for her. Jang Yi coldly remarked that the tetanus was already advanced in him, medicines wouldn't help anymore. As he turned to leave, he remembered that he'd never even held Yuching's hand. Instead of waiting for death, he ran to her room, kneeling before her, and awkwardly asked her to marry him. Yuching, disgusted, pushed him away, calling him a loser. Enraged, Jang Yi grabbed her by the neck, snarling that they'd get married in hell. She slapped him hard, telling him she belonged to Jang Yi. Junpang, watching the scene, declared he'd have to go to hell to get her. Meanwhile, back with Dr. Joker, she told her men she'd prepare a decent meal, something that wouldn't alert them that it wasn't regular meat. She admitted she didn't want to die as much as they did. Working quickly, she added something into the soup, stirring vigorously, fighting the urge to vomit. Later, she served the soup, which looked surprisingly appetizing. Everyone eagerly ate, trusting her. Joker, meanwhile, served herself a bowl and slipped in a vial of sleeping pills, hoping her plan would work. Within minutes, everyone was asleep. She sent a discreet message: "Everyone is asleep. What should I do next?" Jang Yi's order was to take everyone to the balcony, where he was watching from afar, feeling the cold. Joker questioned his intentions, Are you going to kill them? And he threw a rope, instructing her to tie everyone to the balcony railing. She hesitated, asking him to help, but he insisted it was her test. Reluctantly, she removed the magazine from Kunjang's gun, threw it at him, and then used a water hose to spray water onto the balcony, waking the captives. They screamed, struggling against their bonds, realizing they'd been drugged. Kunjang cursed loudly as he realized what had happened. Chen Jiang, frozen solid, was unrecognizable as a human popsicle. Jokir, too weak to stand, watched from a distance, her eyes filled with dread. After a few minutes, she confirmed everyone was subdued, and Jang Yi examined the scene through security cameras. She approached cautiously, knowing that any misstep could be dangerous. When she finally entered, she collapsed to the floor from the warmth of the apartment. Jang Yi, behind her, coldly said, "It's not over yet." He wanted to make sure they weren't hiding anything. She blushed, understanding what he meant, and peeled off her clothes, remaining only in her underwear to prove she wasn't hiding anything. He led her to the bathroom where she was to shower and change. He confiscated her medical supplies, always cautious. Later, dressed in pajamas, Jokir came out, and Jang Yi, moved by her appearance, asked her to sit. He explained that he let her stay because she was valuable. If she betrayed him, she'd starve. He showed her the secret storage of food, revealing a power nobody else knew, an interdimensional vault filled with bread and supplies. "Betray me," he warned, "and you'll starve to death." Seeing the truth firsthand, Jokir was overwhelmed with emotion, almost choking on her relief. She understood how Jang Yi was living so comfortably. He told her she'd be responsible for household chores from now on, and when she hesitated, he pressed her further, suggesting they could be more than just allies, they could be lovers, sharing moments of intimacy and companionship.
The next morning, she peeked at Jokir sleeping peacefully. Jang Yi softly whispered, "She must be exhausted from last night. Having a woman around, especially when we're stuck inside, it's surprisingly pleasant." They dressed and headed for breakfast, living a life of more luxury than before the apocalypse. Jang Yi tossed her a special cold coat before they stepped outside, but Jang Yi still had work to do. Handing her a baseball bat, he told her to go. Destroy the frozen bodies outside. No explanation needed. Without hesitation, she grabbed the bat and started smashing the ice. Meanwhile, Jang Yi filmed her, not caring about the camera. His goal? To show everyone in the residence group that Chen Jiang, the terrorizing villain, was now in pieces. The neighbors didn't question or criticize, they only cheered and celebrated. Then, Jang Yi received a call from Yuqing. "I didn't think you were still alive," she said with a wild look in her eyes. "I heard Chen Jiang was dead, and now I'm ready to be your woman. You gotta be with Jokir. I thought she was dead." Behind her, her friends looked ready to kill her. They all heard screams from the other side. Seizing the moment, Jang Yi sent a picture of Jokir, claiming she was his fiancée. When she saw the message, the girl broke free from her friends and ran to her phone. She saw Jang Yi and his girlfriend on the screen. Her mind snapped. "I love Jang Yi more than anyone," she screamed, but Jang Yi threw it right back in her face. "You don't matter. The one I love is right here with me," he said coldly, hanging up. Her friends, furious, didn't even want to hit Yuqing anymore. Their anger was at her for going after Jang Yi and for getting played. Satisfied with her suffering, Jang Yi turned to his little girlfriend. "Was I too cruel?" he asked, a sly smile on his face. She shrugged. "Whether you were or not doesn't matter. You had your reasons," she said softly. She'd seen how crazy those girls looked trying to help him. She believed he was right. Suddenly, a person in the building next door couldn't take it anymore. They decided to jump off, but their attempt didn't even impress Jang Yi. Soon after, his phone rang. It was his uncle, Yu. "Glad you're alive," Jang Yi said. "Thanks to the supplies you saved and your warning. Now I'm with Sheila. May, the single mother from before. Her kid's sick and they need medicine." He told his uncle to come get the medicine later. After talking about his uncle, he heard a knock at the door. Checking the security cameras, he saw his uncle and Zi Li. but he didn't open the door. Instead, he threw the medicine outside onto the floor. His uncle thanked him, but the woman next to him begged to come in. Her baby needed warmth. Jang Yi shook his head. "Sorry, it's too dangerous," he lied. "The coal's out and we only have a few coats. Besides, she's engaged to me, so she's staying with me." She blushed at that, but eventually his uncle gave up. "That's enough," he said. "Just the medicine is good enough." After sending them away, Jang Yi felt exhausted. This woman from his past life had survived nothing. He laid back on his girlfriend's lap, enjoying the view, but he knew Zili could mess everything up. When they returned home, his uncle confronted her. "Why are you abusing his trust?" he demanded. "It's all for the baby's best," she insisted. But Uncle Yu reminded her, "You owe your nephew. If it weren't for him telling you to save food before the apocalypse, you'd have nothing." She claimed Jang Yi was selfish, just collecting favors. Uncle Yu snapped back. "There are limits. If you badmouth him again, you'll be alone." The next day, a group from another building dug a tunnel under the snow toward Jang Yi's place. Their first attempt? A single shot that sent one guy tumbling. They knew about the sturdy door, so they brought dynamite. But it didn't work. Infuriated, Jang Yi retaliated with a grenade, then quickly took out his Glock, putting several intruders to sleep. His ammo was running low. People from other buildings knew about his stockpile and were coming for it. The explosions and gunfire scared his girlfriend. It was clear. This was the new normal. She tried to hide her embarrassment and went back to her work, pretending everything was fine. Jang Yi realized he had to act fast. He told the residents group it was outsiders trying to loot him, and he'd kicked them out. But he knew this was only the beginning. He called his uncle, warning him. The gang from Building 26, led by Wang Tanfong, was the same as the one Chunjiang took over. They stole supplies and controlled the area. Jang Yi warned that they'd come back for revenge. He told his uncle to unite the neighboring residents and prepare to defend themselves. Then, only talking to Joe Kier, he said, "The neighbors will stab us in the back if we give them the chance. You need to gather intel on the other buildings, with Uncle Yu helping." In just 2 days, she dressed as a maid and reported everything. Her intelligence? The strongest groups were from Building 26, who had returned and started attacking the other residents. They left a message. Until Jang Yi leaves, everyone here will die. This news disrupted their quiet life, even their attempts at a peaceful exercise. The residents demanded Jang Yi take action. Furious and desperate, he sent texts and voice messages. "Your lives mean nothing to me. Fight for yourself." Later, he called his uncle again. "Now's our turn," he said. "The gang from Building 26 is only 20 people. If we unite, we can take them down." Everyone agreed. Jang Yi declared, "I haven't eaten well for days. Only I can lead us now." He sent one last message. "I can help us face the rival building, but only if..." Everyone quickly agrees to follow Jang Yi's orders. They say they're willing to obey, as long as it doesn't put their lives in danger. Jang Yi, sitting comfortably in his home, smiles and says, "You'll have to take the risks. Otherwise, just wait for the group from Building 26 to come and wipe everyone out." Uncle Yu, standing beside him, encourages the others. "If we follow him, we have a shot. We can go outside, get food, and survive this mess." Reluctantly, everyone agrees, even the most hesitant, all hoping that avoiding death and getting food is worth the danger. They crown Jang Yi as their leader, their savior, and he prepares for his first outside mission. Wearing his special cold gear, he's ready to brave the brutal snow. When Jang Yi's girl, Joir, tries to come along, he quickly shuts it down. "Never leave the apartment," he orders firmly. "I trust you 100% to stay here." But as he steps outside, the scoundrel, poof, snaps his fingers, and all the supplies vanish from the apartment. Jang Yi descends to the 4th floor, jumps through a window and lands outside, in the freezing snow, 4 stories high. Anyone, ignoring the cold, would sink into the snow and perish. Luckily, he stored a snowmobile in his dimensional space, a secret weapon in this frozen hell. Someone from another building might have seen him pull it out of nowhere or just saw him riding it later. Either way, he's on his way. His first stop, the police station. Breaking the glass with ease, he storms inside like a ghost. His goal? Weapons and ammo. The officers on duty? No warm clothes, no heaters. The first night of freezing was their last. Jang Yi respects them. Once upon a time, you heroes protected this city, he says, covering the fallen bodies. He finds the keys among them, keys to everything, including the armory. He loads up with all kinds of weapons, ammo, and gear, stuffing everything into his dimensional loot space. Next, he heads to the shopping mall, digging through the ground, until he breaks into the roof. Inside, he raids the supermarket, grabbing all the food that's frozen solid. Fruits, meats, useless for those with land, but perfect for those trapped inside without a way out. He throws what's salvageable into his bags, loads up his snowmobile, and heads back. Back at his building, the leader of Building 26 watches him go. Envy burns in his eyes as Jang Yi rides off with more food than they could ever dream of. Uncle Yu, seeing his nephew return with a haul, is overjoyed. "You're a hero," he shouts, brandishing a gun and the spoils of war. "Anyone who dares to steal our food, they'll pay, and with a 5-day supply, they'll be begging for mercy." And just like that, chaos erupts. The gang from Building 26 charges in, demanding the food. "Hand it over, you or else," they yell, threatening violence. But Jang Yi isn't playing around. "Kill them all," he orders. "Anyone who makes a move gets 5 days of food." And I'm not joking. The residents lose their minds and attack. The gang members are overwhelmed, confused how the weak, scared people suddenly fight like lions. Jang Yi and his fiancée watch as everyone fights and celebrates their victory. Some survivors retreat back to Building 26, wounded and desperate. Jang Yi sees the chaos but knows he could save them, but it would cost him supplies, medicine, and resources he doesn't want to spend. He turns away, knowing that he's using all people around him in a cunning, calculated way. He gathers everyone, congratulates the MVPs, and hands out bonus food. It's all a game, motivating them to strive harder, to obey him without question. He scorns anyone slacking off, kicking a candy at someone who dares to complain. "Work equals food," he says coldly. "No work, no food." Meanwhile, Joe, Kier stores the remaining supplies, knowing everyone's had their share. Then, a familiar voice appears. Fang Yuqing and her bloodsucker friend. They drag themselves in, whining about not getting food. Jang Yi, ever humble, says he hasn't forgotten about them. "I haven't," he says calmly. "But I don't have enough for everyone." Fang Yuqing tears up, asking why he doesn't like her anymore after all these years. With a slap, he dismisses her. "I never liked you," he says bluntly, "and now I'm engaged to Joe Kier." One of her friends calls her a gold digger, and Jang Yi agrees, saying she's always been scheming to take rich guys' money. They all start mocking her, saying if they'd known she was selling herself before the apocalypse, they would have taken advantage too. Humiliated, she runs off. But 2 guys grab her, dragging her away, maybe to feed her or just to shut her up. Jang Yi, watching, smirks. "She'll get better food now," he says. "And she swore she'd do better for me." After the show, Jang Yi begins organizing the building's defenses. 6 groups of 7 people each, taking turns guarding the stairs 24/7. Uncle Yu, a former soldier, leads them and keeps everything tight. Jang Yi studies the situation, then asks Joe Kier, "If it starts snowing again, what happens?" He pulls out his weapons from the dimensional loot. "It's winter. We'll be stuck for at least a month, but the real danger isn't the weather, it's the people." He spots movement near the garage. Some enemies are coming for his snowmobile, but he's prepared. Using his WAP weapon, he takes aim through the scope, calm as ever. He sees them approaching, planning to break in. They don't know he's ready. He fires a grenade, then quickly draws his Glock. Bullets fly, knocking out enemies left and right. His ammo's running low, but up weapon, he calmly takes aim through the scope, like it's just another day. He fires a grenade. The explosion echoes through the building. Enemies scatter, nervous. He quickly follows up with precise headshots. Headshot after headshot, 7 bodies in the snow, all gone in an instant. He smiles, thinking, this message is loud and clear. Jang Yi, leader of Building 25, has a rifle, and there's no way to challenge me now. They must follow my orders. The next day, Juir reports she's practicing her cooking, and casually asks about the noise last night. Jang Yi, with a straight face, admits, I shot and killed 7 people. Her reaction? Simple. That's amazing. He asks if she's curious why he used his WAP to do it. She shrugs. It's none of my business, she says. I'm with you. Better than dying outside. Jang Yi praises her. You're smart. No unnecessary curiosity. I like that. Meanwhile, the residents of Building 26 stare at the snow-covered bodies. One of them, related to the boss, worries because they still have no food. Chen Feng, irritated, orders the bodies of relatives like David to be dragged into the building. More food, she says. Jang Yi, meanwhile, heads out again. Respect from everyone, but also a lot of fear. His reputation, unmatched. He's certain the building is safe now. But outside, the leader of Building 26 seethes. If only he could get that motorcycle, he'd be out making moves. He and his crew search the parking lot but find nothing. The guys who went before, shot to pieces. Jang Yi, on his motorcycle, speeds toward the district of machines and imported cars. The warehouses are massive, still free of snow. He breaks the roof, descends with a rope, and loads everything into his infinite loot storage. Luxury cars? Useless now, but someday? They might be worth something. Next stop, the gas station. He needs fuel for his generators, snowmobiles, and machines. But it's buried under snow, impossible to dig out. Frustration boils over. He throws himself into the snow, pondering. Then he remembers. He has a giant excavator stored with just a little fuel left. With determination, he digs through the snow, clears a path, and finds the tanks. The fuel isn't frozen. He seals the tanks and stores them safely. With this, he can dig and retrieve everything buried beneath the snow. No one will stop him. Now. Meanwhile, in the building, a neighbor's child runs a high fever. Jokir rushes to help, but Jang Yi's always got supplies stashed. Uncle Yu's leftover medicine eases the fever, and the mother breathes a sigh of relief. But just as they step away, a scream pierces the air. Aunt Lin, furious, attacks the mother and the baby. In her madness, she's convinced they're endangering her family. In a flash, Jokir intervenes, trying to protect the child. Aunt Lin pulls her gun, shooting wildly. Uncle Yu arrives just in time, kicking Aunt Lin down the stairs, saving the boss's wife. It's chaos. But in this world, survival means making hard choices. Meanwhile, Jokir recounts the heartbreaking truth. After Chen Zhang was eliminated, she begged Jang Yi to give medicine to her grandson. But when she went to deliver it, she discovered something horrifying. Aunt Lin had already killed her grandson, leaving the old woman screaming in denial. Theo. Men accompanying Uncle Yu step forward, their faces dark with fury. She must pay for her evil deeds, one says coldly. We can help, and we'll burn her sins in a good bonfire. The others nod, eager for justice and perhaps a little chaos. Meanwhile, outside, Jang Yi rests in a tent at the gas station. Now he's heading out again, this time with his excavator digging deeper into the city. His first stop? The abandoned military base. He digs through walls, breaking into the camp's interior. To his surprise, not everything was taken by the military. A mountain of weapons and ammunition remains untouched. All of it, straight into his loot storage. After a long hiatus, he returns home on his snowmobile, but this time with no food. The neighbors immediately notice. They start complaining, whining about the lack of supplies. Jang Yi counters sharply. Even for a day, I couldn't find anything. If you want food, go outside and search yourselves. Stop expecting me to do everything. His words sting. Some residents, desperate, suggest maybe Jang Yi can take some of them next time so they can rest more. But just as they speak, Jang Yi's hand subtly gestures, and suddenly, a rebel takes a hit to the head, collapsing to the ground. The others apologize, but Jang Yi's cold stare leaves no room for mercy. No forgiveness, he says, shooting down at least 4 of them. The rest scatter through the windows, fleeing in terror. The noise draws Uncle Yu and Joar, rushing over, worried. Jang Yi simply states, "They're traitors. They forgot their place." He walks away, as if what happened doesn't matter. But in his mind, he's already calculating. That mercy? Just a warning to others. Meanwhile, back in the safe house, Jokir reports that Aunt Lin has gone mad, driven by grief over her grandson's death, and attacked a mother in her madness. Luckily, the situation is now under control. Someone from another building, Chenling Yu, has reached out. She wants to cooperate, but she's vague about her intentions. Jang Yi, confident he has everything he needs, dismisses her. Those outside can only wait to die of cold and hunger, he thinks. Curious, he asks Jokir what she knows about Chenling Yu. She explains she owns a cosmetics company and now controls Building 9. That surprises him. How can a woman take control of an entire building? Jokir suggests he should talk to her. He already has messages from her and the leader of another building on his phone. Without hesitation, he contacts Chenling Yu. She wants to negotiate via voice, but Jang Yi, impatient, cuts her off. "No, time for chit-chat," he snaps. "Send me a message," she responds, describing herself as tough, knowing he has a snowmobile and a rifle. She offers her 76 workers to help search for food, but with a catch. They want the snowmobile, and he must supply food first so they're strong enough to go out. "And if I refuse?" Jang Yi asks coldly. She remains calm. "You're a target. Now," she says. "All the neighboring buildings are teaming up to take you down. If you don't cooperate, they'll attack you soon enough." He pauses, considering her words. He's never seen beggars threaten him for food before. But in this world, anything's possible. She asks for more time to decide, and he hangs up, already strategizing. While he's thinking, another call comes through, this time from Lian. She's from Building 18, and she wants to cooperate. She's managed to unify her residents after the apocalypse, sharing resources and maintaining some semblance of humanity. Leon offers to help him turn the others against each other in exchange for a few supplies. Jang Yi asks Jokir about Building 18. She says Lian has limited resources, but her leadership might be useful, if only temporarily. Jang Yi's mind races. He sees the messages flooding in, some from other buildings, all offering cooperation, alliances, or threats. He considers killing them all, but right now he's weighing his options. He even asks Jokir for her opinion. Should he cooperate or crush them? Her mind is clouded, distracted by everything happening. Meanwhile, he instructs his followers to prepare. He plans to get the residents to turn against the neighboring buildings, to form alliances, and then, at the right moment, strike. He gathers the leaders of nearby buildings and sets a meeting. His plan? To eliminate the leadership, leaving the residents disorganized, vulnerable to his control. He arranges everything, handing out quality food to his followers, boosting their morale. "We need strength," he says. "Because if everything goes well soon, there will be no more food problems for anyone." They all follow him, idolizing their savior, ready to do anything for him. In secret, Jang Yi and his followers move to a neutral zone for negotiations. From afar, he observes, and soon he spots something strange. An enormous crowd gathers, far more than he expected. He orders Uncle Yu and the others to stay back, while he remains hidden with his rifle. As the leaders of the neighboring buildings approach, he watches silently. Suddenly, one of the groups makes a move, and in a flash, a massive explosion erupts. A grenade thrown from an unseen hand creates a huge blast, obliterating many of the leaders. Uncle Yu on the phone asks, "Why so much violence?" Jang Yi, voice cold and steady, replies, "It's just a little message. They're heading back to their buildings, and it's over in 5 minutes if they don't come to talk."